Hey everyone, Sean Taggy here, and I'm with a very awesome guest, Mr. Mark Saller. Mark, how you doing today, man?
Doing great. It's Christmas time.
Yes, we're filming this right in Christmas time, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So a question that I've gotten actually in the comments here is, when I want to sell a house, right? Eventually you're going to want to sell your house and realize all those gains and everything. So how can you do that? And we actually provide that service as well. We're not only a turnkey company, we have a full-fledged real estate brokerage, Reedy and Company Realtors, another sister company. And Mark Saller helps people sell their houses when they're ready to sell. So Mark, kind of walk us through that process from when they're like, hey, I want to sell. What do you go through with them?
Well, when we speak to the owners, we find their motivation in selling. Some need to sell, some are speculating sell because of the conditions of the markets that they find out through this podcast and through you. So we evaluate the home either whether it's with a tenant or without. Of course, when they're not with a tenant, or if we have the liberty to wait and let the property be vacant, we like to target the owner-occupant market.
So kind of when you're selling your house, maybe be on the lookout. It'd probably be better than to sell it when it's vacant or when it's occupied with tenant.
Always vacant.
So
always
why
vacant.
so? Why would it be better to not just sell it while it's occupied? What's the thoughts
Well,
there?
the occupied would be us marketing it as a cash flow property, meaning a tenant has been in it for a while. The property is not in the condition that it is when you, the customer, first buy it, which is FHA, slicked out, great condition, A1A condition. So this property is going to sell for a discount even though it is cash flowing.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like when we're buying houses, it's a lot easier for us to buy when there's not a tenant in there because we can actually do our full-fledged inspections a lot easier, get in there for showings and all of that. Love that you said that. Also, it's easier to get the repairs. Secondly is when it's vacant, you kind of have two options to sell. You can sell to an investor, which they'll just go find a tenant, or you could sell to a homeowner who might pay a little more than an investor sometimes. And homeowners are going to want to walk in.
Right.
You're not going to want to, hey, is there a tenant in here? And they walk through with the tenant.
Yeah,
and
they want to see it. And
vacant.
The good thing is the condition of the market or the climate of the market right now is a low inventory market. So all my owners that are speculating are moving and growing towards the owner occupant. But now you have to keep in mind that an owner occupant is
it's a different buyer.
Complete rehab,
right.
And a different buyer. And even if Reedy does their good readout, this customer, just like you did as a customer, is going to have that home inspected by a home inspector. And you're going to have to realize there's going to be some things that will still have to be addressed. So we want to keep, and that's where I fight for you as your agent. We want to make sure we do only the items that are listed in the conditions of the contract, how the home is to be delivered, but the benefit is tremendous. Now, one disclaimer, that is per zip code to zip code that is overperforming. There are some zip codes that I can't offer that owner occupancy sale price, but very few.
Right, yeah, because there are some zip codes where it's like 80% renters, and then some are 50-50 or some are even less. So case by case, he's going to guide you and direct you through that. So now that you've kind of given them, hey, I think your house could sell for this to an owner, or this if it was to an investor, and based on the repairs needed, you kind of give them like a highest and best use.
Right.
So what goes from there?
And just to end that last statement, the great advantage of that is all that information that he just mentioned that you're finding out comes from within these walls. We can do the rehab, we can give you the estimate, we can do all of that in a quick enough time for you to make a good decision. But after that, and we decide how we want to market this property, then we go to work with getting the property in the MLS, getting it out in a large email to all our buyers. And the big advantage is in the position that I'm in here as a acquisitions manager, I am in contact with buyers and sellers all day long. So we have great networking with buyers, sometimes before the property's even listed. I have right now, just as an example, a buyer in Texas that is waiting for a property. He wants a Reedy property. He wants a Reedy property that is cash flowing because he doesn't want to rehab it. and he's just waiting for one of my customers to call with that property.
Well, there you go. See, I love that. I love the connect. Not only do we throw it on the MLS like every agent does, and 50, 60,000 people see that, we also have our own private list that we have a personal attachment and a relationship with. So great advantage with selling with us. Also the fact that we can get you a renovation budget quick and let you know, hey, if you renovate it this way, you might be able to sell it for this. If you renovate it this way, you might be able to sell it for that. And we kind of recommend, you don't want to over renovate it or under. And so we know all that.
And the final thing is, once that property's under contract and that buyer does have a home inspection, usually you only have about 2 weeks to do the repairs that you agree to do. Well, this company is capable of doing that for you.
Yeah, we can do those little nitpicky items that the home inspector always comes up with. We'll negotiate. Mark Saw, he's a tough negotiator too. He'll negotiate off some things if he can. We will be reasonable here with the seller and buyer and kind of match those things.
Basically, the contracts read, the property is to be delivered in good workmanship condition, everyday wear and tear accepted. So that's the little gray area that we defend you on.
Right. Okay. So, I come to you, I reach out to the client service team. I'm saying, hey, I'm looking to sell. They'll forward it over to Mark. He'll do a CMA on the property. We'll get a reno scope on there for you, let you know what that renovation will be. You can decide from there on if you don't want to renovate it or do. He'll kind of walk you through that process. You get it listed, and we'll be marketing it for you. I mean, is that it, man? It seems pretty easy.
One final thing.
Yeah.
Being that a company that buys and closes around 600 to 1,000 properties a year, we have contacts with attorneys that you will close from the chair you're sitting in right now. You don't have to come here to close. It'll all be docu-signed and overnighted, and you'll never have to leave home to take care of the closing of the transaction. So, from start to the very end. And if you want those funds, they will wire them to you, so you never have to leave home.
That's easy. I love it, especially with COVID and all that. That's great. And yeah, they'll send a mobile notary to your house wherever you're at in the country, just like when you bought one from us. I was also going to say, we also have so many other connections too with insurance companies, and we know lenders to help that buyer, buy the property and all of that.
Correct.
And then also, our title companies. Oh yeah, and then also kind of an advantage with us, if we are managing it and it's occupied, that's kind of nice because people will be like, oh, well, good. I don't even have to find a property management company. So the buyer, it's like a little advantageous thing there too.
We actually have buyers that want our resales. So y'all should think about that. We have buyers that want Reedy rehab properties and Reedy management.
Yeah, love it. So yeah, guys, this is Mark Saller. Mark's been doing real estate for a long time. He knows a thing or two about it. He's been a top seller and buyer in Memphis on the multi-million-dollar list for, God, man, how many? Forever,
Lifetime
dude.
member in 1996.
Just for a while.
Some of you weren't even born then.
Yeah, so Mark knows a thing or two, and he has a great team of other assistants and people as well.
I don't do this by myself.
Right, so we have a great operation for you. So we'd be happy to help you out, even if you're just curious about selling your property, or if you're full-fledged ready, we can definitely help you out. Make it a turnkey selling company for you.
All in-house.
Right, all in-house. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much, Mark, for popping on. Reach out to Mark. We'll get you set up. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.